why should we read Toni Morrison's Beloved? A mirror that shattered without warning. A tray of cracker crumbs strands across the floor. Two tiny handprints appeared on a cake. Everyone on 124 Bluestone Road knows their house is haunted, but there's no mystery about the spirit touring them. This ghost is the product of unspeakable trauma and like a buried history and hangs over much more than its own him said. So began Beloved, Toni Morrison's Pulitzer-winning novel about the suffering wrought by slavery and the wounds that persist in its wake. Published in 1987, Beloved tells the story of Setha, a woman who escaped enslavement. When the novel opens, Sepper has been living free for over a decade. Her family has lost disappeared. Sepper's mother-in-law dies earlier and his two sons run away from fear of the spectre. Sepper's daughter Denver remains in the house, but the pair in half-life. Shunned by the water community and two up on each other in the ghost for company. Setha is consumed by thought of spirit, what she believed to be her eldest daughter. When a visitor for Seppa's old life returns and throws the ghost away, it seems like the start of a new beginning for her family. But what comes in a ghost place made it even harder to bear. As with much of Mercer's work, Beloved investigates the role of trauma and love in African American history. Morrison writes about Black identities in a variety of contexts, but the character is united by the desire to find love and be loved, even when it is painful. Some of the novel explore when love challenges social conventions, like the forbidden actions that grow between the townsfolk of Paradise and the others examine how we can be blind to the love we already possess. In Solar, one character realizes that it's not her marriage, but rather one of her friendship that embodies the great love of her life. Perhaps Morrison's most famous exploration of difficult to love takes place in Beloved. Here, the author considers how the human spirit is diminished when you know things and people we love will be taken away. Morrison shows the slavery is destructive to love in all forms, poisoning both enslaved people and their enslavers. Beloved examines the dehumanizing effects of slave training in numerous ways. Some are straightforward, such as refer to enslaved people as animals with monetary value, but others are more subtle. Sapphire and Paul D., the visitor from Hall of Plantation, as described as trying to live in a lived life. Their coping mechanisms are different. Seth remains mired in a past, while Paul D. dissociates himself completely. But in both cases, it's clear his character has been irreparably scarred. Morrison also blended perspective and timeline to convey how the trauma of slavery ripples across various characters and time periods. As she delved into psychotic people, slavers, and previously enslaved people, she exposed conflict the point of the reality. This tension shows the limitation of our own perspective and with which the characters are actively avoiding the reality of their actions. But in other instances, the characters' shifting memories align perfectly, capturing the collective trauma that housed the story. The Beloved touches on dark subject. The book is also filled with beautiful prose, highlighting its characters' capacity for love and vulnerability. In a stream of conscious sequence written by Seppa's perspective, Morrison explores memories of subjugation alongside militant standards like a bell reaching for mother's earring, spring color, and facing stare. Sometimes mother-in-law had painting wine, she recalled. So you can see your way to talk, where left eye did read. Throughout the book, Morris asks to consider hope in the dark and to question what freedom really means. She urges readers to ponder the power we have around each other and to use that power wisely. In this way, Beloved remains a testimony to the destructive of hate, the redeeming power of love, and responsibility that we bear to heed the voice of the past. Toni Morrison once said, mirror that shattered without burning, a trail of cracker crumbs strewn across the floor. Two tiny handprints appeared on a cake. Everyone at 124 Bluestone Road knows their houses are haunted, but there's no mystery about the spirit to murder them. This ghost is the product of unspoken trauma, the like of a bakery history, and hangs over much more than its lone homestead. So began Beloved, Toni Morrison's Pulitzer Prize-winning novel about the suffering wrought by slavery and the wounds like precious in a wake. Published in 1987, Beloved tells the story of Sepha, a woman who escaped enslavement. When the novel opens, Sepha has been living free for over a decade. Her family has largely deserved. Sepha's mother Lena dies years earlier, and her two sons run away from fear of the specter. Sepha's daughter Denver remains in the house, but the pair live in Hafla. Shunned by the water community, the two have only each other and the ghost for company. Sector is consumed by thoughts of spirit, and she believed to be her eldest daughter. When a visitor for Sepper's old life returns and threatens the ghost away, it seems like the start of the new beginning for her family. But what comes in the ghost's place may be even harder to bear. As with much of Robinson's work, Beloved investigates the role of trauma and love in African American history. Morrison writes about Black identity in a variety of contexts, but the character are united by desire to find love and be loved, even when it's painful. Some of the novels explore when love challenges social conventions, like the pervasive affection like growing between the townsfolk of paradise and the future neighbors. Others examine how we can be blind to what we already possess. In Zuller, one character realizes that it's not her marriage, but rather one of a friendship that embodied the great love of life. Perhaps Morrison's most famous explanation of the difficulty of love takes place in Beloved. Here, the author considers how human spirit is diminished when you know things and people you love the most will be taken away. Morrison shows that slavery is destructive to love in all forms, poisoning both enslaved people and their enslavers. Beloved examines the dehumanized effects of slavery dreaming in numerous ways. Some are straightforward, such as referring to slave people as animals with monetary value, but others more subtle. Sector and Paul D., the visitor from her old plantation, are described as trying to live in a livable life. The coping mechanisms are different. Sector remains minor in a path, while Paul D. dissociates himself completely. But in both cases, it's clear each character has been an irreparable scar. Morrison also blends the perspective and timeline to convey how the trauma of slavery ripples across various characters and time periods. As she delves into cycle to people, slavers, and previously enslaved people, she exposes conflict at every point of reality. This tension shows the limitation of our own perspective and way in which some characters are actively avoid the reality of their actions. But in other instances, the characters' shifting memory align perfectly, capturing the collective trauma that haunts the story. The Beloved touches on dark subjects. The books also fill with beautiful prose, highlight its characters' capacity for love and vulnerability. In a stream of consciousness sequence with the perspective, Morris unsolved the memories of subjugation along moments of tenderness, like a bell reaching for mother's earring, spring colors, and frosty painting stars. Sepha's mother-in-law had painting with reed curls, so you can see your way to top where left light didn't reach. Throughout the book, Morrison asks us to consider hope in the dark and to question what freedom really means. She urges readers to ponder the power we have over each other and to use that power wisely. In this way, Beloved remains a testimony to the destructive of hate, the redeeming power of love, and the responsibility we bear to heed the voices of the past.